The luxury charter yacht Deep Strike cut through the crystalline waters off Guadalupe Island as Captain Eduardo Vasquez guided his vessel toward the legendary Great White hunting grounds that had made this remote Mexican outpost famous among extreme sport fishermen. The 62-foot Hatteras sport fisher carried 6 wealthy American tourists who had paid premium rates for what they believed would be a controlled encounter with one of nature's most perfect predators. Vasquez had been operating shark cage diving expeditions in these waters for 14 years, his reputation built on providing wealthy thrill seekers with safe glimpses of great whites through reinforced steel barriers. The 44-year-old captain from Ensenada understood that Guadalupe's resident shark population had grown increasingly aggressive over recent seasons, but nothing in his extensive experience had prepared him for the massive predator that was about to demonstrate why humans had no business in its territory. The water temperature held steady at 68 degrees as marine biologist Dr. Jennifer Walsh prepared the diving equipment that would lower her clients into the hunting grounds of creatures that had perfected their killing techniques over millions of years. The 36-year-old researcher from San Diego had conducted over 400 cage dives with great whites, but the behavioral changes she had documented in Guadalupe's shark population suggested these predators were evolving beyond traditional patterns that had once made human observation possible. Investment banker Marcus Chen adjusted his wetsuit as he prepared for his first great white encounter, the 51-year-old executive from Hong Kong, having traveled halfway around the world for this experience. Chen's limited diving background included tropical reef excursions and controlled aquarium encounters, but nothing had prepared him for entering the domain of apex predators that viewed the ocean as their exclusive hunting preserve. The steel diving cage measured 8 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet, its reinforced construction designed to withstand the massive impact forces that great whites could generate during feeding frenzies. The cage's narrow bar spacing and emergency release mechanisms represented decades of engineering refinement, but these safety features had been designed for normal shark behavior rather than the coordinated pack hunting that Guadalupe's predators had recently developed. Dr. Walsh's underwater monitoring equipment detected the first great white at a depth of 40 feet, the massive signature indicating a mature female that measured approximately 18 feet in length. The shark's approach pattern was methodical and purposeful, suggesting intelligence that exceeded normal great white investigation behavior. Chen's descent into the cage placed him in immediate proximity to predators that had claimed these waters through violence and territorial dominance spanning countless generations. The cage's steel bars provided psychological comfort, but the narrow spacing that separated him from creatures capable of exerting over 4,000 pounds of bite pressure represented humanity's fragile attempt to observe nature's most efficient killers. The great white's first appearance was devastating in its calculated precision. The massive female emerged from the blue-black depths with her scarred snout and intelligent black eyes focused directly on the human who had invaded her hunting grounds. Her triangular dorsal fin, nearly 4 feet tall, cut through the water with the fluid grace of a predator that had never known fear. Chen's first glimpse of the shark's massive head revealed damage patterns that told the story of decades spent as an apex predator. Her snout bore the scars of territorial battles with other great whites, while her massive jaws displayed rows of serrated teeth designed for tearing through marine mammals with surgical efficiency. The shark's investigation of the diving cage was methodical and terrifying. She approached within inches of the steel bars, while her massive bulk, estimated at over 3,000 pounds, demonstrated the raw power that had made great whites the ocean's undisputed rulers. Her intelligent behavior suggested she was evaluating the cage's construction and identifying potential weaknesses. Chen's breathing apparatus fogged as adrenaline flooded his system during the shark's close inspection. The predator's massive eye, larger than a dinner plate, studied the human with obvious intelligence, while her gills fluttered rhythmically as she processed chemical signals that identified Chen as potential prey. The shark's first test of the cage's structural integrity came without warning. She rammed her massive head against the steel bars with enough force to bend the reinforced construction and create stress fractures in welds that had been designed to withstand normal shark behavior. The impact sent Chen tumbling against the cage's rear wall, while his breathing equipment was damaged by the violent collision. Dr. Walsh's surface monitoring detected multiple additional shark signatures approaching the diving area, their coordinated movement patterns suggesting pack behavior that had never been documented in great white populations. The approaching predators represented a feeding aggregation that could overwhelm traditional safety protocols through sheer numbers and coordination. The massive female's second assault on the cage was more systematic and devastating. She used her powerful tail to position herself for maximum impact before driving her reinforced skull against the cage's weakest structural points. The steel bars groaned under the tremendous force, while Chen's emergency air supply was compromised by equipment damage. Chen's panic increased as he realized that the cage's emergency release mechanism had been damaged during the shark's initial attack. The device designed to rapidly surface the cage in emergency situations had been crushed by the predator's assault, trapping him 40 feet underwater with a creature that had demonstrated its ability to destroy human safety equipment. The arrival of 3 additional great whites transformed Chen's controlled observation into a coordinated predator assault. The sharks ranged in size from 14 to 20 feet, their synchronized approach patterns indicating communication and planning abilities that challenged everything marine biologists understood about great white behavior. The pack's systematic destruction of the diving cage was methodical and terrifying. Each shark took turns ramming different sections of the steel structure, while the others circled to prevent any escape attempt. Their coordination suggested intelligence and social organization that exceeded documented great white behavioral patterns. Chen's breathing equipment failed completely when the largest male shark, measuring nearly 20 feet, drove his massive head through the cage's top section with enough force to shatter the steel framework. The predator's scarred snout and battle-damaged fins identified him as the pack's dominant male, a creature that had established territorial control through violence and predatory dominance. The male's massive jaws, capable of severing a human torso with a single bite, pushed through the destroyed cage opening as he attempted to reach the trapped human. His rows of triangular teeth, each measuring over 2 inches in length, were designed for dismembering large marine mammals with surgical precision. Chen's survival depended on his ability to avoid the shark's massive jaws while trapped in a steel cage that was rapidly disintegrating under coordinated predator assault. His damaged breathing equipment provided only minutes of emergency air, while 4 of nature's most perfect killers systematically eliminated his protective barriers. The pack's feeding frenzy mentality transformed the water around the destroyed cage into a churning mass of predatory violence. The shark's powerful tails created massive underwater currents that disoriented Chen, while their continued assault on the cage's remains eliminated any possibility of surface evacuation. Dr. Walsh's emergency response from the surface required deploying additional diving equipment into waters that contained 4 actively hunting great whites. The predator's obvious coordination and territorial aggression made rescue operations extremely dangerous for additional humans who entered their claimed hunting grounds. Chen's emergency ascent through the pack of circling sharks represented a desperate gamble against predators that had demonstrated their willingness to attack humans who invaded their territory. His rapid decompression and panic-induced swimming attracted the immediate attention of creatures perfectly designed to detect and eliminate struggling prey. The massive female's pursuit of Chen during his emergency ascent was swift and calculated. Her powerful tail propelled her enormous bulk through the water with frightening speed, while her intelligent hunting behavior suggested she understood that the human was attempting to escape her territory. Chen's survival was complicated by decompression sickness and massive lacerations from contact with the shark's sandpaper-like skin during his escape from the destroyed cage. His injuries included deep cuts that attracted additional predator attention through blood dispersal in the water. The pack's continued assault on rescue operations forced Dr. Walsh to abandon traditional diving protocols and implement emergency helicopter evacuation procedures. The shark's territorial behavior had escalated beyond normal great white patterns, making water-based rescue impossible while the predators maintained their coordinated presence. Chen's helicopter evacuation required him to reach the surface, while 4 great whites circled below, their massive dorsal fins cutting through the water as they waited for another opportunity to complete their interrupted hunt. His survival depended on rescue timing that would minimize his exposure to predators that had already demonstrated their ability to destroy human safety equipment. The investigation revealed that great white populations throughout Mexican Pacific waters were displaying unprecedented pack hunting behaviors and coordinated territorial aggression toward human operations. The sharks were learning to associate diving activities with prey opportunities and were developing strategies specifically designed to eliminate protective barriers that had once made observation possible. Chen's physical recovery required extensive reconstructive surgery and psychological therapy to address trauma from being hunted by apex predators that had demonstrated intelligence and coordination beyond documented great white capabilities. His diving career ended permanently due to injuries and psychological damage that would never fully heal. The Deep Strike's shark diving operations were suspended indefinitely when insurance companies determined that great white behavioral changes had made cage diving prohibitively dangerous. The predator's ability to destroy protective equipment and coordinate pack attacks had eliminated the safety margins that had once made commercial shark encounters profitable. Dr. Walsh's research data documented behavioral evolution in great white populations that challenged fundamental assumptions about shark intelligence and social organization. The predators were adapting to human presence through increased aggression and coordinated hunting strategies that eliminated traditional safety protocols. The waters off Guadalupe Island were reclassified as extremely hazardous for human diving operations when additional shark attacks demonstrated that the behavioral changes were permanent rather than seasonal anomalies. The great whites had claimed exclusive territorial control through systematic elimination of human activities in their hunting grounds. The pack of great whites that destroyed Chen's diving cage continued to patrol Guadalupe's waters with obvious territorial intent, their coordinated presence making any human water activities impossible. The predators had demonstrated that the ocean's apex killers would no longer tolerate human intrusion into domains they had claimed through millions of years of evolutionary perfection. These harrowing encounters with evolved predators reveal how quickly nature's most dangerous creatures can adapt their hunting strategies to eliminate human activities from territories they consider their exclusive domain. The great whites of Guadalupe Island have crossed behavioral boundaries that marine biologists once considered permanent, developing pack coordination and territorial aggression that makes traditional safety equipment obsolete. If you found this shocking account of predator evolution as terrifying as we did, hit that like button and subscribe for more gripping stories of when nature's apex killers decide human activities are unacceptable intrusions into their territory. Each week, we document the most harrowing predator encounters from around the world, revealing how environmental changes are creating deadly new behaviors in creatures we thought we understood. Because recognizing these evolving threats could mean the difference between a successful expedition and becoming the next victim of predators that have learned to eliminate competition through coordinated violence. Chen's survival served as a brutal reminder that beneath the ocean's surface lies a world governed by ancient laws that recognize no human authority, leaving behind those who discovered too late that we share these waters with creatures perfectly evolved to reclaim their territory through systematic elimination of any species that dares to challenge their dominance.